Today we're going to learn about illustrations. In doing so, we're going to learn that illustrations can be super important when it comes to understanding a nonfiction text. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this video was meant to be used alongside a text from News ELA. If you're not familiar with News ELA, it is a free online resource that has news articles written for kids. You can get the text by following the link at the bottom. This text has been read in class in order to understand the main idea. We will extend our understanding of the text through this video, so make sure you have your text with you before we get started. Okay, let's get started now. Our goal today will be to learn how to gain information from illustrations in order to better understand a text. And to do that, we're going to learn how to read illustrations. You'll notice that I put read in quotation marks. That's because we're probably not going to actually read a picture, but we are going to get information from it, which is a lot like when we read. We're also going to learn how illustrations can help us better understand a text. Many teachers get angry at students for just looking at the pictures in the book. I know I've definitely been that teacher before. Because of that, many students have started ignoring pictures when they read because they don't want to get in trouble. In reality, we need both words and illustrations to fully understand a text. That means you can't just look at pictures, but you also can't ignore the pictures. In order to read an illustration, we need to look at the details in the illustration. We also need to read the caption that goes with the illustration. And lastly, we need to figure out why the illustration was included in the text. Let's give it a try with this article. Remember our strategies. We're going to look at the details in the illustration. We're going to read the caption that goes with the illustration. And we're going to figure out why the illustration was included in the text. Let's take a look at our first illustration. That's the photograph with the students in the front and the building back behind them. The students are at the playground. Let's ask ourselves some questions. What details do we notice? You probably notice a playground and a school building right away. You probably also notice that the kids are in lines. And you probably have noticed that there is one teacher and 6 kids. So let's take a look at the caption. What information can we get from the caption? We can learn that the students are going to plant seeds in a potato field. And why do you think this illustration was included? It was probably included so that we can understand that these kids are just like us. They look practically the exact same. And it was probably also included so we can see what the school looks like and how similar the school looks to the schools that we've attended. Now let's look at our second illustration. Our second illustration is the one that has the 2 groups of kids, one large group of kids and one small group of kids. Let's ask ourselves some questions. First, what details do we notice? You probably notice that there's a lot of kids in the image at the top, and then you'll notice that there are only 6 kids in the image at the bottom. What information can we get from the caption? The caption tells us that in 1945, there were 254 kids. It also tells us that in 2015, there were 6 kids. So why do you think this illustration was included in the article? It was probably included so we could understand just how many kids used to be there, and so we could understand how small the school is now. Do you see how important it is to really look at the illustrations and read them in order to fully understand an article? You never want to ignore illustrations while you're reading. But you also don't want to ignore the text. We're going to talk about that in the next video. I think you're ready to give it a try now. So read your own article and see how the illustrations are really important to understanding that article. Good luck!